and let's go. Okay, right, so starting sitting on your chair. Okay, so what I'd like you to do is just shuffle your way to the front of the seat and then just lean back. Lean yourself back. Oh, am I coming in? Sorry. So sitting right at the front and then just lean yourself back against the back of the chair so you're supported by the back of the chair, and just make yourselves comfy. This is it. This is our Pilates position. We're just going to sit here to be nice, isn't it? In this position, the reason why I'm getting you to do this is because there are positions that are best for finding pelvic floor, and this is one of them. So anything where you're sitting like this is a really useful position, but this particularly, because when we talk about really engaging pelvic floor efficiently, we want to be lifting through the back passage initially, not the front. So you start with the back and then the sensation travels to the front. But if you can't get that far, then you just do the back, and that is shown to create the best effect. So the reason why sitting like this is good is because we're sitting on the back of the pelvis, you've got all of your nerve endings under your weight, so you've got a little bit more feedback. So you're going to just relax your hands onto your legs or wherever's comfortable, just relax your shoulders. A little scoop at the tummy, so you're a little bit engaged through the belly. And then all you're going to do is take an inhale and just release everything, relax everything, just take a breather. And on your exhale, you're going to start to lift up through the back passage. You're going to hold that for a count of 5 and 4. Now it doesn't need to be big. 3, it can be about 30% lift. 2 and 1, and then a big inhale and relax, and make sure you fully relax. Let go of the tummy, let go of the shoulders, let everything relax. And then on your exhale, when that comes again, you start doing the same thing. So when you're ready, you take your exhale breath and you hold for 5 and 4. And we're going to keep this really internal. Make sure when you're squeezing that you're not lifting, your bottom's not pushing you off the chair, that it's really like a gentle engagement. It's not a squeeze, it's not anything dramatic. And then inhale and release. So what I see most often is this. This is a version of it, or this, this sort of bounce. We want to keep it much, much quieter than that. So when you're ready, we're going to do that one more time. Deep breath in. On your exhale. And we're holding for a count of 5. Now, the moment you feel like your bottom is lifting you, or your belly is really squeezing and clenching, or you're tensing anywhere else, you let go. Okay, that's enough. If it takes it anywhere else in the body, it's no longer pelvic floor. Pelvic floor will be trumped by other muscles. So the moment you feel those shoulders coming up, or the hips start to tighten, or the bottom squeeze, pelvic floor's off, or it's essentially off to all intents and purposes. We want to really isolate. So when you're doing these later, which I'm sure you're going to come back to, I want you to really think about that as an isolation exercise. Ideally, you want to get to a count of 10. But if you can get to a count of 5, your aim is just then to beat 5. Don't worry about 10. People get hung up on 10, and then it becomes a bigger movement, a bigger thing. So we want to keep it really small. So shuffling now to the front of your chair. So we're now aware of where pelvic floor is, and we're aware of how to engage it. And equally, sitting like this on the very front of your chair, on your sit bones, you'll get a bit of feedback from pelvic floor. You should feel like you can just lift away from the chair very slightly. And that engages these muscles in the lower belly. Lift up through the spine, and we're just rolling the shoulders back. Just a few times. Now, what you want to think of here is that every movement of the shoulders is lengthening your spine a little bit more. Think of it like a wind-up toy. You're cranking those shoulders back, and that's creating lift and space through your spine. So I'd like the movement to be more from belly and pelvic floor and less from the shoulders. So we don't need to be doing this. We don't need to be winding it. We've just got to keep it quite gentle and just think of lifting and isolating in your center. Start to lift up through the crown of your head, and now pause with your shoulders back and down and let your arms hang down just in front of the chair. Take an inhale breath. On your exhale, you're going to duck your chin to your chest. You're going to curl down through your spine as though you're peeling away from that wall behind you. Let the arms go heavy. Don't hold tension there. Take your forehead towards your knees. Doesn't matter how low you go. And then roll forwards. Imagine you're rolling your nose like you would in a back extension. Feel this chest start to broaden and open, and the collarbones broaden and lengthen. Tummy pulls in, and we hold this diagonal line. Now, what you want to feel here is that you're not collapsed. You want to be open through the chest. So that might mean that some of you need to come a bit higher, and that's okay. If you need to go higher to get that fill, That feeling of lengthening out through the crown of the head, broaden the chest, shine your torchlight onto the skirting boards, and then draw the tummy in and lift yourself back up, nice and tall, okay? So we go again, we're rounding down. Now, a lot of this is about just awareness, body awareness, knowing where you are in space. Start to roll your nose forwards, and when you get to sort of halfway, you might feel like you're straight, but try lifting an inch and see how much more length you can get through your spine. You want to lift that belly into your lower back. You want to be lengthening and broadening your pelvis, your sit bones. You want to be opening your chest and drawing your collarbones back. And then your neck is long, and then you lift up nice and tall. Sit tall, relax down, one more time. Okay, we go into our shell, we're curling in. Draw the tummy in, scoop the belly. Now start to roll forwards, lengthen. Shut your eyes and open your chest. Find that flat back from the tail, from your pelvis, all the way to the crown of the head. Shoulders back, armpits down, and lift up nice and tall. Now we go the other way now. We've got this nice long spine. We're lengthened up through the crown of the head, and we're going to go the opposite way, into a hinge forwards. Lengthening the chest. And then we draw that belly in, we round the spine, and we curl into our shell. Start to lift up through the lower back and curl yourself up to sitting. 2 more times this way. At the top line here, you want to really be aware of your top line, shoulders open. We go for a straight back forwards, hinging over the legs. Imagine trying to lengthen your chest over your knees, beyond your knees. Now round, not just from the neck, but from the pelvis, from the lower back, from the belly. Roll in, look towards your belly button and scoop yourself all the way back up. One more time, exactly like this. We go forwards. We round, feel yourself travel into a round back. Remember, it's not just upper back, it's coming from that scoop of the belly and that tuck of the tail, and we lengthen all the way back up to sitting. Now from here, turn your palms to face forwards. Feel how that broadens the front of your chest. You get this opening as you rotate externally with the arms. Palms face forward, thumbs out to the side of the room. Belly on, ribs in. Don't sit in your army position. Tuck those ribs, lift up through pelvic floor, and let's open those arms. Take them wide and all the way up to the ceiling. Keep the palms facing forwards and take them wide out to the side and bring them all the way back into your sides. And we go again, lifting up. Let's inhale to lift and exhale to lower. Feet should be flat. You're right on your edge of your chair, so your sit bones are contacted with the floor, pressing into the floor, lifting yourself away from that pelvis, away from the sit bones. Nice long waist, lowering down. One more time, opening the arms wide, lifting up, 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 shoulders and armpits draw down, opening wide, bringing them back to the sides, and then just rest there. Keep those arms, palms facing forward. Have a moment, have an adjust, and go for that rotation again, opening the palms to face forwards, broaden the shoulders. Feel how you have access now to the backs of the armpits, and as you rotate externally, those armpits can pull down, shoulder blades can slot into your back pockets. Now, lifting up through the tummy, pelvic floor drawing up, we're going to hinge forwards, not very far, just a few inches. Your eye line will travel down the wall, but you'll remain lifted. So your chest is open, you're just hinging forward slightly. And we're going to do the same thing. So we lift those arms up. So we've got a little bit more load now. So it's a little bit heavier, a bit more loaded. We need more tummy. We need more out of the back extensors. So draw that belly in. If this is too much on an angle like this, then just take it back up to sitting. And we do the same thing. We draw those big circles. Think of trying to make your arm span, your wingspan, as big and as broad and as wide as you can. Arms come to your sides, and then you lift up nice and tall again. We can do that one more time. Lifting up. Now start with a little collapse if you need to. Just let the spine release. And then find pelvic floor. Lift up. Stick your sit bones into the floor. Open your chest. Palms face forwards. Let's hinge. Remember, your eye line will travel down, but you're keeping your neck long. So you're not trying to look forwards. You're looking down towards maybe just above the skirting board, around about my plant level. And then we're going to open. So we breathe in to open. Big circles and exhale. Now as we exhale and lower those arms, let's check that the shoulders are open. So we go again, inhale up, Now, as we exhale to lower, we lift from the belly, we lengthen the crown of the head, we broaden that collarbone, we tuck the ribs. One more time, is belly button in contact with spine. Pull it more in, opening wide, and then lifting it all the way back up again and relax there. Okay, I'm going to twiddle my chair. You don't have to, you can stay where you are. But I'm just going to show you from the front. So we're going to go into a little neck stretch now. So again, sitting on the edge of your chair. We're going to take the right arm and we're going to lift it up and over and take hold of the left side of the head. Reach down through the left arm and just take a little neck stretch. So you're keeping your spine long. Can you see how I haven't taken my whole back? I've kept the spine long. My ribs are still stacked over my pelvis, but I've used the weight of this arm just to lengthen the neck to the side. Now don't pull. And if this is too much, just take your hand to the top. Just think of this arm as being gently weighting your neck over. Active through the opposite arm, reaching those fingertips to the floor, and just hold this. Take a few breaths, check that you're still switched on through this waist, that you're still thinking of your ribs being lifted away from your hips, and then bring your head back up again and open out. Other side, take it up and over. And then keeping that spine nice and long. Remember, the spine and the neck, or the neck is part of your spine. So you're just choosing, which get the words out, which section of your spine that you want to manipulate. And in this position, this instance, we're choosing to actively stabilize all the way down, but we're allowing that cervical spine just to tip slightly. Reaching through the opposite arm will give you opposition and it will increase your length and stretch. This is probably one of the most neglected areas in the body, I think. Come all the way back up. Take it over to the other side. Now this time we take it over and then we're going to turn to face that armpit. So the hand has to be light on the head. So I want you to look at your shoulder or look at your armpit or look down to that hip and then just feel how the stretch goes more towards the back of the neck or to the round to the side maybe. And then bring it up, turn to center, other way. We go over and then turn. Keep the stretch, keep the tilt, looking down to that right lift hip now. Right arm is reaching down to your side and then come center and all the way back up again. Now we're going to take one hand, let's start with the right arm and take it to your forehead. Left arm is down by your side. Now we're going to tip, now we're choosing to take the whole spine, not the pelvis, not the base. We're going to go up and over with that right elbow, reaching down through the left fingertips, and then we squeeze back up again, swap arms. We go over, lengthening down through one side, shortening the other side, and lifting up. Now making sure here, swapping sides, that your sit bones are really anchored. So this is really awareness. It's not about how far you move. It's about keeping that weight in your anchor point. So as you move here, you want the weight down into the opposite sit bone to be really active so that you maintain the anchor point so that it's your obliques doing the work and you're not just going to tip. And when you tip, you get all sorts of other muscles to kick in and join in. In this case, you'd end up using all down the front of the thigh. Okay, one more, other side. So we're going up and over. Think of lifting, breathe into the side of the open side ribs. Imagine this concertina of ribs is opening and the separations are becoming bigger and then lifting up nice and tall. Now let's take both hands to the temples. Think of just very slightly finding that 5%. So it's not a tuck, you're not rounding, but you're just drawing hips to ribs because I really want you to feel the connection at the front of the tummy. So now as we go over, we're not losing that 5%. We're also not losing the anchor point through the opposite sit bone and then lift up tall. Other way, inhale over and exhale, lift. We're going to go 2 more on each side. Draw those shoulders down and think of the movement being in the waist. You're using those ribs again. You're shortening this side, opening this side and squeeze up. And again, shorten one side, open the other side. Imagine that manipulation of the rib cage. Let's go 1 more each way. Keeping that 5%. Are you connected in your tummy still? Are you still maintaining that little belly squeeze and lift? Last one, over to the other side. And exhale all the way back up and rest there. Okay, so take a moment. I'm going to twirl around again. You don't have to. Oh, hang on a minute. Turn the chair around. Okay, so in this position, again, I want you on the fronts of your chairs, and we're just doing a little leg march. So we're going to take one leg off the ground, just lift that foot. If that's enough for you, take it back down and swap. Other side, squeeze up and release down. Now your option is a lift, a reach, a lower, and a lower. Lift, reach, bend, and lower. Now the priority is your upper back. So as we take that extension, just make sure that doesn't tip you back, okay? We want to stay tall, bend and release. Up, reach, bend and release. Now hands on hips so you can feel what's happening in your spine. You can feel if there's any shift or change. My advice for these is to draw your thigh bone into your hip socket. Really squeeze it in. But if you don't get a straight leg, don't worry. Squeeze that leg in, release and release. Keep going. And priority again is that lift up through the spine, that release of the shoulders, that extension of your waist, creating space between those 2 points. You can lift your pelvic floor, always an option. And we're going to go one more on each side. And last one. And relax there. Now taking the arms long, right on the edge of your chair again. You're rounding now into your C shape. Scoop your tummy in and then travel back. If you can tap the back of the chair, then do. Then travel forwards and lift up tall. Okay, we go again. We round. Don't travel back until you're round. Then take it back. Take the hip bones with you. Pelvis goes with you. You go forwards and you sit tall. So you start on your sit bones. You round. Sit bones just slide underneath. You travel back towards your tailbone. You travel forwards to your sit bones and you press them into the ground to lift you up. Manipulate that pelvis. Tuck. Travel back. Travel forwards and lift up tall. Keep going. We've got 3 more. And back. And forwards. And up. 2. Round. Really scoop. Take the belly button with you. Pull it into your spine. And lift. And just one more time. We round. Travel. Forwards. And lift up tall. Now take your hands to your chest. Breathe into your hands. Take a big breath and push into those hands. Don't puff up through the chest, but just lift up into the hands. Elbows down, shoulders down. Now we hinge back. Inhale back and exhale lift. Now we won't expect to hit the back of the chair this time. We're going about maybe halfway. The aim is to take the whole spine as a unit, like a corset. Chest open. Your eye line will travel up the wall. And exhale, lift. Inhale back. We've got 4 and 3 and lift. Strong tummy. Take the pelvis with you. 2. Make sure ribs and hips keep this distance. And lift tall and relax there. Take your sorry, no, we'll come back to that in a second. Let's do a quick rotation. So we're going to overlap the arms, holding on. Check that your shoulders are down. Bring those elbows down to your ribs if you need to. Round into your C shape. Draw that tummy in. Scoop your belly. Travel back. Now you want to be somewhere between your sit bones and your tailbone, so you're not going to be touching the back of the chair. And you're going to turn towards your left. Rotate, keeping both sides of your pelvis anchored into your chair. And then exhale back to center. Squeeze back. Other way. We inhale, rotate. Now remember, you want to be moving your ribs, not your pelvis. Keep your sit bones stable. Inhale to the side. Exhale to center. Scoop the belly more. One more time. Check those shoulders are down. And you're weighted through both sides of your pelvis and then travel forwards and lift tall. Be careful on those. We're going to do them again, that you don't slide your knees like this. You don't want to be moving in the pelvis. So when you're back, you want to be able to stabilize those knees so that the movement is upper body. So we're going to do that again. When you're ready, we round. Find your C shape first. Remember that tail tucks under. Travel back about halfway. Now watch those knees. Turn to the left. Push out through the left thigh bone. Anchor that side of the pelvis and back to center. Inhale other way. Rotate round. And exhale back to center. Remember, the back of the rib cage is open, so take your breath there. Breathe into the back of the ribs. Keep those lower abdominals engaged. Pelvic floor can work without, transverse abdominals can work without a exhale. So you can definitely hold it on the inhale breath. Take it back to center, travel forwards, and lift up nice and tall. Relax there. So there are a few abdominal muscles that are directly impacted by the breath cycle. So for example, your rectus abdominis, if you're in flexion, then you take a breath, those ones are going to let go. So you need your deeper abdominals, which is why we've been switching on the pelvic floor. Pelvic floor pretty much relies on a breath cycle, but the transverse doesn't. So you can use that on an inhale. Also, if you struggle to hold and take a breath, take an inhale, think about where the space is. For example, here, you've got a closed front of the body. Don't try and breathe here because it's going to make you do this. Breathe into your upper back, breathe into your armpits, breathe where the concertina has opened. The rib cage is broader across the back, so there's more space. It's just a little tip, helpful hint, I hope. Okay, take your left leg over your right and just hang out there. Again, nice and comfy. And then you're going to take your right arm across. You're going to turn towards that left leg. Check that your pelvis is stable. Turn towards the left leg. This arm can be used as leverage, this one here. And then take your left arm to your forehead. So when you turn a bit further, you're going to reach back with that elbow. Really rotate your spine, open back. Release it on the inhale breath. And again, exhale, open. Inhale, release. Keep your pelvis nice and still. Exhale, open. Going a little bit further each time. One more. This one we hold and we reach back. Slice the air, reach the fingertips. Don't worry how far you go. Think of turning those ribs, stabilizing that pelvis. Breathe. And then bring it back round. Swap your legs over. Take your left arm across, right hand to forehead. Sit bones are anchored and they're stable, and we rotate round. So take the first one really gently. Inhale, hold, or inhale back away a little bit. Exhale, go a bit further. Now, if this is too much for you, you can have the arm long, or you can just have it a bit lower. Either way, find a position that works for you. You can have your hand, I don't know, on your shoulder if you prefer to. Anywhere. We're just focusing less on the movement of the arm and more on the movement of the ribs. So you want the arm in a comfortable position that's not going to take over. Keep inhaling and backing away and exhaling, going a bit further. Make sure your sit bones are stable and they're not sliding. Last one, we take it round and we open. Slice the air with the hand, reach wide and hold. Breathe. One more breath. And then bring it all the way back round again. We're going to take a glute stretch in a minute. We'll come back to that at the end. Let's stand up now and make your way around to the back of your chair. So we're going to start just with some heel raises. I've got quite a low chair, so I'm going to be balancing a little bit more. If you've got a high chair, then you're in luck. You're going to roll your shoulders back and take a small V with your feet. Draw the tummy in. And when you're ready, you're just going to lift the heels off the ground. Squeezing up. And then controlling down. Now, can you keep your heels together? Don't worry if you can't. It's not going to be possible anatomically for everybody. Everyone has slightly different hip and pelvis shapes. So it's not going to be possible for all of you. But if you can, and if you can get them together when they're on the floor, you will be able to maintain the connection for the lift. Might not be easy, but you will be able to do it. So if they can touch on the ground, then hold the touch for the lift. I would advise a little tuck here, at least a 5% connection. So we want to really think of rising up through the crown of the head, releasing back down, and keeping that touch of the heels helps us to maintain an external rotation here. What we don't want is the knees rolling in. We want to keep them out to the side so that as you lift, your heels stay together, your pelvis stays under, your tummy stays on, and your glutes will support you. Let's go for just 2 more like this. Inhale up. Exhale down. One more time. Good. And on your next one, come all the way up and hold. Now, let's go about halfway. Squeeze that tummy. Make sure you've got your 5% connection. Open your shoulders. Now we're going to bend the knees and we're just going to take it into a little squat. Keep the scoop of the tail tucked under. Don't stick your bottom out. Think of those knees going over the toes, and then press back up and hold in this halfway lifted position. Okay, so it's not a big movement. What we don't want to do is this. A normal squat, yes, but this is a plie squat. So we want to keep it tucked. We want to go down and up. And then squeeze back up. Hold that halfway lift. Inhale down. Exhale up. Squeeze the bottom, squeeze the legs together. Inhale down. Have you got that tuck still? 5% in your belly. And squeeze up. Hold that 5% at the top. Let's go for 4. And squeeze. And 3. Chest is open. Armpits down. And 2. And up. Last one. Hold halfway down. And we go little pulses for 10. 9. Keep the tail tucked under. 8. Strong tummy. 6. Chest open. 5. Look forwards. 3, 2, 1. And lift all the way up and relax there. Okay, I'm just going to have to get my pad. My eyesight's not that good. I'm going to put it here. Okay, so now we're coming and we're going to take the hands a little bit further back. So we're going to do a glute press. So we're going to have one leg that's sort of a little bit soft and bent. Not bent, but just a little bit soft. And your other leg is your moving leg. So let's say for argument's sake, all of us do right leg standing, left leg moving. Shoulders draw back, hands on the back of the chair. If your chair is higher, that's fine. Just take a little step back. Shoulders draw down, tummy on. Now we're going to bend that knee of the left leg, push out through the heel and squeeze the bottom to take the leg behind you. So you want to kind of open the front of this hip. And then you're going to bring that leg back in. Keep a nice, long, stable, flat back. We're squeezing out and we're drawing back in. Now flex your foot and feel like you're kicking back, like you're pushing back with your heel. And in. Your right leg is soft, so it's not completely locked because it's going to help support your upper back. Tummy on, chest open. We're going to go for 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. Draw it back in and place that leg down. Other side, left leg is now standing leg. And we press back for 8. Draw it in. Keep the spine long no matter where the leg is in space. Push out through that heel. 6. Shoulders are down, quite light through the hands. So we're just there for balance rather than effort. 3. You might find your standing side of the bottom is warming up. Last one. Place that foot down and come all the way back up to standing. Come around to the other side of your chair. So we need to take, I want to move on from that previous exercise. We're going to add to it in a second. But I want to take you first of all into a cat. So you're going to take your hands down onto your chair, take your feet back and find a sort of flat back position. Now, you don't have to be completely square here. You just want to be able to draw your shoulders back and lengthen your spine. So nice flat back position. Feel like you draw the belly button up to your spine. Feel like your legs are getting a little bit of stretch, possibly not too much. And if you need to soften your knees, you can if it's too much. And then we're going to round the spine. So draw the tummy in, tuck the tail, and all of you will be perfectly fine in this position. The difficulty comes when we come to a flat back because the hamstrings get involved and they tighten up and stop us getting a complete extension. So if you need to soften your knees, you definitely can here to get the flat back. The extension is the important bit. If the knees need to be a bit soft, that's completely fine. Straight legs if you can. Lengthen out through the crown of the head, draw the shoulders back. Let's go again. We round. Scoop the belly, tuck the tail. Now you know the exercise. We do this on the mat all the time. So you know the movement. But now because we've got straight legs, we add in a little bit of extra hamstring lengthening. Shoulders still pull back, whichever position you're in. Rounding and tucking first. Hold for a breath. Extending. Just flat back. Think of crown of the head and tail reaching away from each other. 2 more times. Round. And open, lengthen. And 1 more. Rounding and lengthening here. Now hold this position, take your right hand, take it to the forehead. You're going to go internal, taking elbow to opposite arm, opposite elbow, and external, opening the elbow to the side of the room. We rotate in and we rotate out. Now we're trying to hold the flat back that we just found. Soft knees, again, completely valid. Draw that tummy in, hold your spine nice and long, and just rotate on that axis. Don't worry if it's not a big movement, particularly on the opening. Don't push it, don't squeeze it. Just take it as far open as you can, moving from the ribs. Don't pull on the neck or pull on the shoulder to get further. Keep it nice and controlled. Relax there, take that hand back down. We swap sides. Shoulder that you're resting on needs to be drawing back because it's weight bearing now. Tummy strong, hand to forehead, we rotate in. And we rotate out. Exhale to go in. Inhale out. Is your tummy still on? Keep that supporting shoulder strong and stable. Draw the armpit back. Remember, you're lengthening your spine and stabilizing your tummy. One more time. Remember, it's much more important that the setup is right than that we get a big movement. And then taking that hand down. Round yourself in towards your legs. Let go of the hands and curl up to standing. Okay, so we've got a good flexion and extension. So now we're going to go back round to the back of the chair. We're adding it in for our glute kicks that we just did. So we're going to go back onto standing on the right leg, lifting the left leg. And the movement now is going to be a kick back with a stable, long, controlled spine, but then a draw in with a round back, knee to forehead. Okay, so it's an exhale, press back, stabilize that spine and squeeze the bottom so you get that extra little bit of movement. And round and squeeze in. When you're ready, we go again. Find your flat back, press the leg back. As the leg draws in, you round your spine, squeeze the tummy. So there's a lot going on. Find the flat back before you send the leg too far back. Stabilize and press. Remember, these arms, they're just there for support and balance rather than weight bearing. Don't put too much effort through the arms. Squeeze back, stable spine. It's knowing where you are in space and being able to manipulate your spinal position. Such a big part of abdominals, such a big part of Pilates. And we draw in. We've got one more. Pressing back, flat back. Lengthen and squeeze in. And then place that foot down. Swap sides. Standing leg, get it bent. Give your back a little moment to shimmy. And then shoulders draw back, stable spine. Soft leg, remember, through your standing knee. And we press back, stable spine. And then we scoop it all in, round it in. And we stabilize and we press back. And we round it all in. Inhale back. Exhale, drawing. Remember that standing leg is a little bit bent. Squeeze the glutes, stabilize the spine, shoulders down. We've got 3, and squeeze, and 2, and in, and last one, and all the way in. And place that foot down and come up to standing. Twiddle around and face side on. Now, holding on, again, it's just a balance point, so it doesn't matter how high your chair is. And again, we're going to do a very similar thing. We're going to take the left leg, and we're going to squeeze in. We're rounding in. Round your spine, soften your right knee, and draw that knee down. Draw that knee into your forehead. And then lengthen it down to the floor and extend your spine. Lift the arms up. And again, we exhale. Rounding in, tuck the tail, scoop the belly. Place the leg down, inhale, lift. Again, we round in. Place the leg down, and this time, if you want to lift, you can lift your heels too. And again, rounding in. Place the foot down, lift up, heels optional. And relax there. Twiddle round, other side. I'm going to swing my chair, you don't have to. When you're ready, same thing. We go for 4. Squeeze, place, and lift. Keep the heels down. And again, round in. Scoop the tummy, place the foot down, and lift. Now when you're rounding, try not to lean onto the arm, onto the supporting leg. Try and stay square. Place the foot down, lifting up. You can keep your eye line forwards if it's helpful for your balance. Looking up if you can. And again, we go round. Place the foot and inhale up. And release all the way back down again. Twiddle your chair or come and sit on your chair. I've got rest now. Okay, so we're gonna take this into a glute stretch now. So we've got glute stretch and hip flexor stretches to finish. So we're going to take one ankle over onto the opposite leg, lifting up through the spine. Now the key with a glute stretch is that we don't collapse through the spine. When we do this lying on your back, one of the things I say all the time is a neutral pelvis, and sitting is quite a good place to find that. So if this is too much, you can straighten this bottom leg a little bit, and it just creates a little bit more openness in the hip. Equally, if this is still too much, then a cross-legged position would be your next best bet. Okay, so either way, you're going to lift up through the spine, draw the tummy in, and then keep your flat back and just hinge forwards. Lengthening over that leg. And when I say hinge, I want you to lengthen like you're trying to get your ribs beyond your knee. Okay, so it's not a collapse, it's got to be long. Reach over, feel like you're broadening the back of that pelvis. If this square position doesn't work for you, then just crossing the legs. Similar thing, lengthen the tail back and then just hold here. Take a few breaths. Hang out in this position, take a moment. And then when you're ready, coming all the way back up, and let's swap sides. Taking the leg across into a position that works for you, lift up through your spine and lengthen forwards. Remember, it doesn't need to be a big movement, but it needs to be a straight movement. Ideally, we get that length, and we want to really focus on the back of this pelvis opening, broadening. Nice open chest, shoulders down. Take some breaths. And then come all the way up to sitting. Now hip flexors, if you're working a lot at a desk, this area gets really tight. So we're going to twiddle around again and come into the back of the chair, and we're just really using it for balance. So you can do this without a chair. And we're going to take the hold of the back of the chair and then just take hold of one of your feet. Now, if this isn't a position that's going to be doable for you, the alternative, I've got my teeth in today. The alternative is that you can put your foot up against the chair. Now, you might need something else to hold on to, but you can take it as open as you need to. If your mobility isn't great and you can't get that leg close in enough to hold on to it, then putting it against the chair will help. But you might need to position your chair so you're near a door on something you can hold on to. But if you can grab hold, then do. And whichever version you're doing, you want to always think about as always the rest of the body. So the chest is open. You want to tuck the tail under because we're trying to open this bit. So we need to tuck that tail under to really use the pelvis to manipulate the hip. Think of your knee reaching to the floor. Like I said, even if you're here, you're lengthening that knee down and you're, again, tucking that tail under. Open up through your chest, lift up nice and tall, and just breathe here. And if your foot's up against the chair and you want to go a bit closer, you can manipulate that to get a position that works for you. Let's swap legs. So holding on to that foot. Now, one of the things someone said to me years ago is that if you imagine that you're using your hand to put your heel towards your bottom, but you also want to oppose that with pressing your laces into your hands. So if you're wearing a pair of trainers, press the laces into hands. So you're kind of a dynamic, it's a push-pull. And that means that you take this stretch, not just into the hip, but all the way down the front of the thigh. So you get more around the knee as well. And like I said, it's going to be really individual as to what works for you and what feels good for you. And then release down. Okay, let's finish with a standing roll down. Take an inhale breath. I hope we're okay for time because my watch isn't actually working very well. Yeah, I think we're okay. So standing nice and tall, Deep breath in, take your chin to your chest and roll down. It wasn't until we started that I realised I hadn't set myself up with another clock. I usually have something else in the room. Rolling down, taking an inhale breath and exhale and rolling up to standing. Take the shoulders back. Let's go one more time. Deep breath in, chin to chest. Curling down. Hold for a breath. And curling all the way back up again. And you're done. Well done, everybody. So I hope that was okay. Any questions, as always, let me know. I will be getting in touch in the next few days about our roadmap. So if you have any thoughts or feelings about that, about what you'd like to see, do let me know. I'm going to be coming up with something hopefully that will suit everybody or as many people as possible. So let me know what your thoughts are if you have an opinion on it. And I'll be in touch. Thanks, guys. Take care. Have a lovely Wednesday. Thank you.